let your experience begin right now. From high atop the mountains of British Columbia to you listening around the world, this is Spaced Out Radio. You can follow us on our website, spacedoutradio.com, on Twitter, @SpacedOutRadio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. You can follow us on Instagram, Dave Scott, SOR, or on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show.
The intro music is on right now, Don.
Buckle up, space travelers. It's time to go for a ride as we are live on Spaced Out Radio.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The deeper I go, the deeper I fall.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio. Tonight I am your host, Dave Scott, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Spaced Out Radio Network, broadcasting live right here on Spreaker. How are you all doing? Once again, we come in from the frozen Canadian tundra, battle our way past the wild animals, sidestep Bigfoot, and enter Uncle Jimbo's cabin, stoke the fire, heat this place up, and broadcast to you live on this Monday night, early Tuesday morning. I am filling in tonight for Uncle Jimbo James Tyson. He's having a little bit of computer issues with his system. We're trying to get that figured out. I am back from Las Vegas, and I had a great time. I'm not going to lie. Guns N' Roses was phenomenal. Believe it or not, Axl Rose was sounding almost identical to the way he did back in 1989, even though he didn't move around because he broke his ankle the week before. But it was fun nonetheless. No, I did not catch the Paradise City whistle. I was nowhere close to it. But even better for me, where I do not feel guilty, is the fact that Axl did not throw the whistle out into the crowd. So it wasn't meant to be for me, nor anybody else. But don't tell Bumblefoot I was there. Ron Bumblefoot THAL, the official sound of Spaced Out Radio. You can go to our website, spacedoutradio.com, to check out all of Bumblefoot's music. Yes, the guitar god is the official sound of Spaced Out Radio. Hey, just so you know, we are working on the Space Travelers membership. For $5 a month, we are going to provide for you a newsletter, prizes, private interviews, and so much more. Hey, we're going to give you a hell of a lot more than just access to our archives. It's going to be really, really good. Tonight's show is brought to you by Rivulet Reiki and Readings, providing healings in person or at a distance. Spaced Out Radio listeners receive a 10% discount on pricing. PurplePlates.com, help heal your body, mind, and soul. The Spirit Story Box, the official ghost hunting app of Spaced Out Radio, and Spaced Out Radio's official newspaper is the New Agora newspaper. So, tonight we are talking about self-healing. We're going to talk about shamanism. We're going to talk about a lot of different things that people go through. Reiki. And when I'm searching for someone like this, I always want to try and find one of the best people out there. I've talked to Dawn Short, our guest tonight, a number of times. She was going to come on about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, but like all of us, she was one of the first to get that nasty flu that came around. So we were not able to hook up with her then, but we are able to hook up with Dawn Short now. Dawn, thank you so much for being on Spaced Out Radio tonight. How are you?
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm good, thanks.
You know what? After you had that cold, I noticed that everybody started getting that cold. Eventually, I got hit with that cold. It was a nasty flu season this year.
It really was. It was a mess. I was fine, and then minutes later, I was just done. Done.
You know what? You know what? I'm also a little upset that I did not realize until you and I chatted earlier today that you live in Las Vegas. We could have went for dinner. You could have come to Guns N' Roses with me.
That would have been so cool. We'll have to do it another time. Let me know when you come out, and we'll figure it out.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I try and get down there a couple times a year because it's one of the only times I actually allow myself to relax. And I'm not going to say what happened, but I can honestly tell you, I will not be traveling with the people that I went with the next time. Yes, there was high drama in the desert. And I really didn't even see my friends for the final 2 days because I had had enough. So it was, I left Las Vegas with a real bad case of the pissies, and I got home about 2:30 this morning and woke up early for my day job, but that's okay. I'm back at it here, and I was going to take tonight off. You were going to be on the air with James, but for some reason his Spreaker studio is not working very well tonight. So I decided to say, hell with it, I'm jumping back on. I'm not going to bed anytime soon anyways, so I might as well just hop on, do the show. So it's you and me and the vast and expansive and absolutely brilliant and awesome Spaced Out Radio audience tonight.
Very cool.
Absolutely. So, Dawn, tell us a little bit about you for people who are unfamiliar with you in regards to what shamanism is, what self-healing is, and how you got involved with it.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's see where to start. I am what is called a shaman or a practicing shaman, practicing shamanism, however you want to say it. But I'm also referred to as a medicine woman by certain sections of, I guess, Native American aspects. So when I refer to myself, now I start saying medicine woman, even though I do practice methods of shamanism. What that is basically a man or woman who uses the ability to, they call it see with one strong eye or with the heart, and interacts with spirits, whether it's your spirit guides, animal, human spirit, whatever that may be, or just remote viewing could be involved. We make good use of the elements: water, earth, air, fire, the directions, north, south, east, and west. And I mentioned the spirit guides. And a part of the role that we take on within the community is to keep harmony and balance between humankind and the forces of nature. Because we make good use of nature to tie in with our spirituality, whether it's for meditation or making a medicine wheel, things like that. The way I got into it was completely by accident. I started doing my own show. And that was also something I kind of fell into also. I was in a chat room just randomly with some friends, and the host decided they were going to call people who they happen to have on Skype. They called me up. A couple seconds later, I'm getting a private message. Hey, you've got a great radio voice. Would you like to do your own show? I'm like, you're drunk, right? But
I know that feeling. I know that feeling all too well.
So I did my show for a couple of years, and in the beginning, you go through that thing. Oh my God, I did this. Now I've got to have guests. Who do I know, or who can I get to convince them to come on a show with me? Well, among the first few people was somebody that I had selected. His name is Willie Windwalker Gibson, and he is a medium and a shaman. And we spoke on the phone a few times, clicked instantly. Felt like family right away. I got to know his wife. It was outstanding. Time went on. We went and we spoke. I asked him a lot of questions because things just started just coming forwards for me spiritually, and it was crazy. And I felt an instant trust and bond with him, and so I ran some things through him. And what he was doing and not telling me was kind of like training me and putting me through some tests. And I didn't really know that. I just thought that he was showing me ways to do different things that I've never done before. So I a conference came up. It was actually a paranormal conference in Louisville, Kentucky called the Mid-South. And so I went there. This was several years ago. Anyway, I finally got to meet him in person. So Willie and I talked and hung out with everybody else. And he said that he wanted to talk to me alone. So we went off to a little table off to the side. And then we just had this conversation. He asked me if I had my cards with him. Would I give him a reading? I thought, I'm going to give you a reading? Are you kidding me? I was terrified, but I did. He was my buddy, and the conversation carried on. He said, this is what I need to talk to you about. And I've been wanting to talk to you about this for a while, but I was running you through some tests. Do you remember this, this, and this? I said, yeah. He goes, those were kind of tests. He said, I have no biological children of my own. And so what I feel the need to do is to pass on what I've learned onto someone else who can continue this in their own way and honor it. And I have chosen you. And that blew my mind. That really touched me for somebody to come to me. You know, he's my best buddy. We've got this friendship that is just beautiful and bizarre and crazy all at the same time. And of course I accepted, and I continued to learn and grow and take little paths off, to left and right on my own, learning my own ways to do stuff and sharing them with him. And, here I am now, several years later, basically doing my own thing. But we talk weekly still. Of course, he's still my best buddy, but that's basically how I got here to this point.
And the reason why I ask you that is everyone has a story. Everyone has that time in their life that had their little epiphany that this was the direction they wanted to take. For some of us, Dawn, like myself, in my own opening, in my own spirituality, it seemed like I got the sledgehammer to the butt to make this thing work. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas other people, where it sounds like your story, you kind of drifted into it smoothly. So when you look at this and you look at spirituality, the way it works, were you surprised that it was as smooth as it was for you, knowing that some people have such a harder time where they get that real hard kick in the butt?
Well, this aspect of it could be taken as smooth, and it probably was. I mean, I had some ups and downs. The mediumship aspect of it and the psychic aspect of it for pretty much my whole life prior to that was not smooth at all. It was it was a nightmare in some cases. So I understand both ways. I mean, I had some horrible experiences. I had some experiences with the psychic aspect of it, which I don't even... I try and cut off anything with the air quotes psychic part of it just because it's brought me so much heartache and sadness. And, of course, I use the medium and I guess some of the psychic part of it when I work with missing person cases. So there's that. But as far as the medicine woman and shaman stuff, I guess it kind of built up throughout my life. I always had this need to, I was drawn to nature. I would be drawn to little things like a certain stick that I saw on the ground or a stone, a crystal that I had to have. This through my whole life. And I would, little by little, I would collect these things. And I found out that what I was doing naturally was my spirit was starting to collect different things for what would later on be a medicine bag.
Do you feel then that when you started having this spiritual enlightenment, that everything just started popping into your eyes, like you mentioned the crystals? Were you seeing more rainbows? When you asked your spirit guides for things to happen, did it start happening for you? Or were you quite naive to the signs that were surrounding you at that time?
Yes and no. There were some signs that were crystal clear that I could not deny. I had a heck of a time connecting with spirit guides in the beginning, and then there was a period of time where it was just one, and then, okay, there's a couple, an actual couple, male and female, and then I got some different cards animal totem cards. They're called something else too. And about a day after I got those cards, I got another spirit guide. So things escalated, and then they slowed down, and then they tie into something else, and then I learn a lesson from something that's totally separate. So it can be a complete whirlwind, but if I allow myself to not take and make use of the elements like I mentioned, like water. Water is my favorite element. And so if I don't make use of that, at least the sound of it, if not being in it or touching it, standing out in the rain, something, then it becomes overwhelming. So I've learned to use the elements to help center myself, bring myself more peace, and then if the things come at me a little bit too fast, I can sort of slow them down a little bit. So I've given myself a little bit more of control. You can't control this by any means completely, but I've learned to, by accident and time, how to, I guess, mellow things out a little bit.
We are talking with shaman and intuitive healer Dawn Short tonight on Spaced Out Radio. She is a very talented young lady, lives in Las Vegas, and she is available for anybody to chat with in regards to this. Dawn, one of the things that I'm very interested in, and I've had a shaman on here before who actually trained Mrs. Spaced Out Radio to be a Reiki master. Oh, cool. And one of the things that Monique Wilson said at the time, because she is of First Nations descent up here in Canada, is that becoming a shaman is a very rich heritage in regards to the spirituality of the First Nations customs, of the First Nations traditions, of the healing practices. When you decided that you wanted to become a shaman, did you find that out as well?
I found out that there was a great deal of acceptance that would occur. I luckily had Willie, who had already been accepted throughout the years, and one in particular who is within the Cherokee Nation. She's actually the one that came to me and said, you might want to start referring to yourself more of a medicine woman than the word shaman, only because you use medicine. Yes, I do. Well, then that's what you are. She just kind of wanted to give me my own identity. But yeah, the level of exception and basically taking you in as one of their own has been amazing to me personally. It's been beautiful.
We're talking with Dawn Short tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Dawn, when it comes to shamanism, and this is the last question I'm going to ask before we are going to go to break here, what part of it do you enjoy the most? Do you enjoy the heritage of what being a shaman means? Do you enjoy the healing that comes from it? Do you enjoy the cleansing of your own self that comes along with it as well?
Ooh, I don't think I could pick just one as a favorite. I really don't.
Well, take us through. Let's go to the historic side of it. What do you enjoy the most about the historic side of being a shaman?
I take it as an unbelievable honor that I would be accepted, and I take very seriously the history of it. I try to learn when I can more, just get to know some of these people who have come to me to talk to me. It's just, sometimes when I think about it, I think about, my goodness, you could have chosen all these other people. It must have been, they tell me it was in my path.
Mm-hmm.
Just part of my path. So.
Makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. And what about the healing aspect when you're working with people, the results that you get to see? That has to be overwhelming at times for you as well.
That will make you sit there and scratch your own head. I tell you what, that's some bizarre stuff. Now I've got 100% faith. I've seen miracles that have had nothing to do with me healing at all. It was somebody else, and nobody in the world will be able to convince me that there is not some sort of higher power, because I've seen it for myself multiple times, and I have actually done it. I don't do it very often. Simply for the fact that I don't have enough experience out here. I just don't. But I have done it a couple times, 2 different instances that really stand out. And for people to come to me and say, hey, you know what, look at this, there's actually a difference. Or, hey, I didn't have to go and have that surgery that I was supposed to have. And they can't explain it. I mean, what do you say to that? It's wild. It's absolutely wild.
Dawn, could you see then where people are, or let me rephrase that. Does it amaze you then that people in the mainstream, whether it's the public, whether it's doctors and physicians, are not taking this a little bit more seriously? When you see the results, you get to report on the results. You have eyewitness testimony of people who've been healed by the results, yet the mainstream refuses to take it seriously on how we can truly heal one another without the use of narcotics or medication.
I missed out the first part. I kind of cut out on a good portion of that, and I'm sorry I didn't hear it.
Okay, so what I was asking is, in regards to the mainstream medicine, whether it's a doctor, physician, a nurse, or any type of practitioner, are you surprised they don't take what you do as seriously as a lot of people do, or people who have had success being healed by what you're doing?
Not so much. I mean, I do know there are physicians out there that have seen things like this through other people, and they absolutely have all the faith in the world. I think it has a lot to do with personal faith. I often wonder that sometimes it doesn't have something to do with you are not supposed to have anything to do with this. This is just the way it is, kind of deal. Look the other way. I don't have an answer for it. I just know that if more people could be helped and it would be accepted, and it's not, something's up.
Oh, for sure.
Something's up, obviously.
Dawn, I'm going to place you on hold for about 4 minutes here. We are going to go to our first commercial break of the night. We are talking with shaman and healer Dawn Short. Her website is supernaturalwhisperswithdawn.weebly.com. I hope I got that right. supernaturalwhisperswithdawn.weebly.com. And we'll have more with Dawn Short right after this. You're listening to Spaced Out Radio. I am a very tired but very happy Dave Scott, and we'll be right back.
Would you like to become one of our space travelers? All you have to do is click on the Space Travelers icon at spacedoutradio.com. For only $5 a month, you can get access to some great prizes, as well as private monthly shows, newsletters, and a members-only section on our website. Become a space traveler today.
Hi there. This is your medium, Joanna, from Spaced Out Weekend, 2 Mediums and a Large. I would love it if you would come and join us with host James Tyson every other Sunday on Spaced Out Weekend. Together, we will take your calls and your questions live. Our goal is to provide you with a positive outlook on deep questions that you may have. Questions regarding love, relationships, money, or whatever else is on your mind. Come and check us out at spacedoutradio.com.
Every Saturday and Sunday night, as Dave Scott wanders aimlessly in the wilderness, you can come hang out with me, James Tyson, in Spaced Out Weekend. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, I'll take you along as we talk with some of the best experts in their fields. SpacedOutRadio.com is the place to find us. So sit down, relax, put your feet up. Enjoy the topics like the paranormal, supernatural, intuitiveness, and so much more. Hope to see you there.
Hi there, this is Elizabeth Anglin, and on the last Monday of every month, I join Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's Cosmic Passport. We delve into everything from extraterrestrial contact to animal communication. It's a lot of fun, and every month it's something different and exciting. I would love it if you would join us. You can hear and learn from my experiences, and I'd like to know about yours as well. Cosmic Passport on spacedoutradio.com.
Hey everybody, this is Patrick Webster Small, and I'm here to bring you the Webster Phenomena every Saturday night, live at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. If you're looking for aliens and extraterrestrials, well, we've got them. Big and tall, short and small. You're bound to find what you're looking for, so join me on the Webster Phenomena right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit, and expect a miracle.
Have you ever wondered about those weird and strange creatures people have reported throughout history? Do you wonder if those stories are real? Me too, and that's why I started Cryptopia.us. Hey, this is Rob Morphy, crypto historian. Join me once a month on Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott, where we will get into the odd and bizarre reports, from the Dover demon to hairy hominids and everything in between. I will break down what people like you and me are seeing at spacedoutradio.com.
Would you like to advertise on Spaced Out Radio? Getting your message out to Spaced Out Radio's listeners will benefit you. Our listeners are loyal, intelligent, and supportive, and they support those who support this broadcast. For pricing and information, you could go to spacedoutradio.com to find the pricing guide that suits your needs, with many options to choose from. Advertise with Spaced Out Radio today by contacting us at info@spacedoutradio.com.
Want to connect with us online? Find us on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show, on Twitter @Spaced Out Radio, on Instagram, Dave Scott SOR, on YouTube, Spaced Out Radio Show, and our website is spacedoutradio.com. All right, space travelers, here comes the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate you taking the time. If you are in Paranormal Into the Night, Paranormal Forum, or chatting away in our Spaced Out Radio chat room, we love having you with us. It is always a pleasure to have all of you with us. Hey, tomorrow night on the show, we are going to be talking to Davina Caballo about reawakening yourself. It's going to be an interesting show indeed. This will be her first appearance. It'll be a lot of fun tomorrow night on Spaced Out Radio. Hey, Monday night, just so you know, we are going to be going to 3 hours starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time. So, 3 hours starting Monday night. That'll be 7 days a week, including Spaced Out Weekend. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at Spaced Out Radio. You give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. You can also ask to join our Instagram, Dave Scott, SOR. Our YouTube channel, where our archives are, is Spaced Out Radio Show. As well, you can go to our website, spacedoutradio.com, to find out all the info you need to set you up for your week. Tonight we are talking with shaman, healer, paranormal investigator, Dawn Short. She wears a plethora of hats. And Dawn, anytime I can use the word plethora, it makes me happy. I'm not going to lie. Love that word. So, I want to talk a little bit more of the healing, and then into the second hour, I'd like to get into some paranormal, if you don't mind, because I love the paranormal. I want to get into that. In regards to the whole healing aspect, whether you're healing somebody or yourself,
Mm-hmm.
how do you like to do it? Are you more into the Reiki side of things? Are you more into traditional healing methods with traditional naturopath type, I don't want to use the word chemicals because that's not what I'm saying, but methods of healing? How do you like to do it?
The way I was taught was to go by what spirit guides me to do. And what that has been is either to go and grab a certain crystal or rock, whichever one that I'm drawn to the most. I usually have crystal quartz and then something else, one other something else. And that's what I have. And then I connect with whatever, whether it's like a finger or a foot, whatever it might be. And what I'm told happens while I'm doing this is that there's this weird tingly warmth that happens. And I feel nothing. I don't feel anything. I just try and be guided and just be as open as possible to whatever needs to use me to do this. And so I don't know if I answered your question or not, one way or the other. That's just how I approach it.
Do you use a lot of healing crystals?
I have a lot of different crystals. I don't remember exactly what each one is called. I do, and there's no way. My brain doesn't have the ability to store all kinds of stuff like that. It's got enough going on up there. But if I need to, I know what it's for, then the ones that I have are for multiple things.
Mm-hmm.
And and I know there's other beliefs and everybody's got their own thing, but the way it's worked for me is that I will set them out. The one that spirit draws me to is the one I use. And I've always done well that way.
So would you consider yourself psychic in a way, in the way you heal people, or would you consider yourself someone who just goes by more of an intuition?
Ooh, that's a good question. You know what? I never thought about that. I guess it could be both. I really don't know. I open myself up through meditation, of course, prayer protection for everyone involved, and I have, my higher power and spirit guides guide me along, and so. I guess the aspect of choosing the crystals would probably be psychic and spiritual. I think it could be both.
When you're looking at it, do you consider yourself psychic, or do you consider yourself more of a skeptic being proven that this works?
I've actually been called one of the most skeptical mediums anybody's ever met. And I am. I'll bust my butt to try and disprove certain things before I'll go to that next step. I know that there is psychic aspects to me. How it relates to healing, like I said, I really have not put any thought into it. I just go and I do and I be and I pray and go from there. I haven't actually taken the time to think about all that, to be honest with you.
Don, there's a lot of people out there who will say, how can you be psychic and skeptical at the same time? Like, 2 and 2 isn't making 4 here for a lot of people.
Well, when you grow up and you know things and you don't know exactly what that is. All we had back then, I'm going to tell you something. I'll be 52 in May, okay? I'm a grandma. And back in the day, all you had was the tabloids, and what they spoke of was ESP. There was no paranormal anything. There was no, you might be a psychic medium, you might be this, you might be that. There was really none of that to learn about. There was maybe gypsy stuff and things like that, but in growing up, the way I grew up, at least, all you saw was the word ESP on tabloids here and there. I always felt that my mother knew that there was some sort of special connection with me spiritually. The psychic aspect of it was very difficult for me. And growing up and not knowing, I thought that because I knew certain things ahead of time, that I somehow caused bad things to happen.
Mm-hmm. So when you were going through this, was it always a struggle with you dealing with the psychic side of things and then having to deal with the reality of what is happening? Because I know from my own personal intuition that I am dealing with, I still question a lot of the things that happen to me. Example, a few weeks ago, somebody I used to work with in radio passed away of cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I hadn't talked to this person in 7-8 years when I left. Yeah, we were Facebook friends, and the odd time we'd comment on each other's stuff. Like when I'm saying odd, like Halley's Comet came around quicker than those comments. And I go to bed after the show, and all of a sudden I hear her talking. And one of the struggles that I have, and maybe you have this as well, or maybe you've defeated this, is how do you tell then what is a true message compared to what is your imagination?
Okay. I'm going to back up your weather question about the psychic aspect of it and questioning it. We're human, and I think it's just natural to question and doubt these things and want to know how or why or what. As far as the knowing which is which, I think in time you get to know your own thought patterns, and that's how I can tell. Now, not always, this isn't a perfect science by any means, but I can, more than I ever have before, figure, okay, that was not a normal thought process of my own. I need to figure out what this is, or let me just keep that in the back of my mind and see what else comes. Sometimes it's nothing else. You'll get nothing more, and it was totally random and it's gone. Other times it leads up. You get this bits and pieces, 20 pieces to 1,000-piece puzzle, and you got to try and figure out where the rest of them are, what it means. And just as we're all individual as humans, so are our gifts.
That's a way I guess I've never really put it. I've never really put it that way. And that one is actually quite making me think, which is always good, but bad when you're on the radio. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't want to think too much on this side of the microphone. I'll be fully honest with you. But it's an interesting concept indeed, because there's always going to be that question then.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. And if anybody tells you they've got it down 100%, they're not telling you the whole truth.
So when it comes to your crystals, you mentioned that you were talking with your guides on what's going to help work for a person. For instance, I look at my studio here, I have a giant orb of sodalite. The reason why I chose sodalite is because on my research, it's good for left-handed people. It's good for people who are creative, who like to communicate, who like to write. It also helps with anxiety and depression. So when you are working with crystals, whether it's sodalite, whether it's whatever crystal you choose, is Spirit telling you something that clearly that maybe Joe Smith, who's coming in, really needs to work with amethyst, or Jane Smith coming in is suffering from delusions and you should really get her to work with petrified wood or something along those lines? Is that how it works for you?
So far, yes. So far. I've got to be straight up front. I do not go out and look to do healings of any sort. I will try and help with minor things, but I don't want them to just come to me. They've got to go to the doctor or not come back to me at all. I don't want to deal with it. I'm not a physician. I don't have prescriptions. I don't have all the answers. The only things that I've done is someone's had issues. This one particular person had finger surgery, and the surgery made it worse. And you could see it was awful and incredibly painful. And I'd happened to have a couple things with me, and I thought, okay, well, this particular crystal quartz and this other, I can't remember what it was that I had at the time, was what I needed. What I do is I carry different medicine pouches. I have a couple of them, and if I know that I'm going, say, on an investigation or somewhere where I think I might need something for whatever reason, I will put that together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I take with me. Might not need it. Doesn't matter. Sits in my purse. Doesn't matter. But if I feel that I need to take one, I will grab one. I will redo it, and it goes with me.
We are talking with Shaman Dawn Short tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Her website, supernaturalwhisperswithdawn.weebly.com, if you want to check that out. In a few minutes, we're going to get to the paranormal side because you're part of Southern Nevada Ghost Hunters, and I want to get to that. I think that's very, very cool because I was just in Southern Nevada, well, as of about 27 hours ago. But in regards to the healing, I thought you said something very, very interesting and smart. You still have to go to your doctor. Do you find a lot of people, Dawn, are so scared of doctors today because all the doctor seems to want to do is prescribe medication that they are relying too heavily on the natural side when something is serious and they should go see a family physician?
Oh, absolutely. I've had my own incidences where I was over-medicated not once but twice. And so my faith is very shaken. If I don't feel the need for something that they say that I need and they write me a prescription and I can't validate that I need it, it goes in the trash. I tear it up. And everybody has that right. People seem to forget that when you go to a doctor, you hired them to work for you. If they don't do what you need, hang on, get a second opinion. You don't like that, and get a third opinion. Fire them all, start fresh. They are working for you, and that's what I try and tell people over and over again. Try, someone who works with holistic medicine that's more spiritual. Try some different stuff, assuming that you can afford it and you've got the insurance that covers it. But people seem to forget, you've hired them to work for you. Don't be afraid to get a second opinion. Don't be afraid to go elsewhere. You don't need their permission.
And that's probably the big one, is that a lot of people out there are starting really not to trust anything. They don't want to trust their doctors, yet because everything comes down to some sort of medication or pill popping that comes along with it. But on the flip side, it could be your safest way on whether or not you're going to survive.
Absolutely. There's cases, like for myself, I have hypothyroidism. I unfortunately had to go without it, financial reasons, all kinds of stuff. Didn't realize the whole aspect of it. It was never explained to me, and I never, which is dumb, never investigated. I had my mind on kids, grandkids, the whole deal. Anyway, come to find out, it was starting to do damage to my kidneys. Well, I have a doctor that I have a lot of faith in because he sat down with my blood test in front of me, which has never happened before in my entire life. And he went over everything. He drew things out. He drew diagrams. He said, do you have any questions about this? Because we can go over it. He explained things to me in a way that someone that's not a doctor, that doesn't have all that understanding, could understand it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people need to find. Someone that's going to sit down and talk to you and explain to you what's going on with your body, why they think that this medication might work, and if that's valid by a second opinion, give it a try. If you can find something that's more gentle and more natural, by all means do it with the doctor's help. Don't do it on your own. That's dangerous.
Mm-hmm. We are talking with Dawn Short tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Her website, supernaturalwhisperswithdawn.weebly.com, if you want to check it out. I'm going to shift gears here as we're only about a minute and a half from going to our break here at the top of the hour. You were part of a group called Project Psi.
Yes.
And that is aiding in resolving missing persons cases throughout the U.S. How did you get involved with that?
It was put together initially for scientific. Well, the basis of it is scientific. Dr. Chuck Kennedy is experienced in EEGs and different kinds of testing. And what he had wanted to do, which he's done with 2 others, is to hook my brain up, and have me go through a series of whatever I could as a medium, and then record that, and then see what happened. And I said, absolutely, I would be more than happy to. I'm just as curious as anybody else. Let's do this. We haven't got to do it yet. He has done it with 2 other people. So that is something that we'll be doing in the future. But also, I was invited privately, if I had the time and wanted to be a part of a very small team. I believe there's 5 or 6 of us. And that's involved by email. If it's urgent, we get a text and go to the email and we're very limited with the information. We get a picture and a series of empty boxes with information that we can fill. There's a couple questions, that there's 3 or 4 selections, and we send it off, and they gather it, send it to the authorities, and hopefully help.
I want to get more into that right after the top of the hour as we go to break here. We are talking with Dawn Short tonight. She is a shaman, a healer, a paranormal investigator, and involved with missing persons cases here in and around the United States. You are listening to Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be right back after this break.
Become more intimate and interactive with Spaced Out Radio. Join our Space Travelers Club with your new membership. For $5 a month, we'll provide you with special access to the website, monthly prize draws from books to psychic readings, along with monthly newsletter, private interviews, and more. Sign up today to be part of Spaced Out Radio's experience.
Every month on Spaced Out Radio, we look into the deep and dark reports of cryptids roaming around the world with me, Rob Morphy, from Cryptopia.us. I would love it if you would join me and host Dave Scott as we delve into the most arcane stories and reports regarding creatures of the unknown. My job is to hunt down the details and bring the evidence forward to you. These aren't your regular Bigfoot stories I'm talking about either. You can find out more about crypto history at spacedoutradio.com.
With an ever-expanding listenership base, Spaced Out Radio is the perfect place for you to advertise your product. Our listeners support those who sponsor this show. So whether you're an author or a company, Spaced Out Radio is the perfect place for you. Our pricing is more than competitive, and your advertisements will be seen and heard every show. Head to spacedoutradio.com and advertise with us today. Contact us at info@spacedoutradio.com today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Strange creatures lurking in the night, the sounds of wood knocking in the forest, odd happenings right out of a fictional world. These are the reports I love. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy, and I would love it if you join me and Spaced Out Radio host Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month on our journey into the unknown land of cryptozoology at spacedoutradio.com. From Mothman to Frogman and everything in between. Hey, they don't call me the crypto guru for nothing.
Is the 24-hour world starting to wear you down? Let me from Rivulet Reiki and Ratings lend you a hand. Hi, this is Jolene, and if you're in need of Reiki or a realm reading, come to my website, rivuletrr.wix.com/rivuletrr&r, and let us help you out. At Rivulet, I specialize in healing your body, mind, and soul, no matter where you are. And be sure to check out the Rivulet R&R Facebook page for your best deals. Remember, it's time for you to make some time for you.
Find yourself constantly looking up in the sky, looking for answers? Have you had extraterrestrial contact? Are you an abductee? Looking for answers to your experiences? Hi there, I'm R. Keith Andrews, Spaced Out Radio's resident ET expert. Join me live the first Friday of every month where I take questions from the Spaced Out Radio chat room. and help you understand those from the far-off world. It's 2 hours of knowledge every experiencer should listen to. Hope to see you there.
Did you know that Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi, it's James Tyson from Spaced Out Weekend. Every Saturday and Sunday night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, you can join me and my guests for some great chatter about what's going on out in the universe, or even in that dark part of the basement you really don't want to go back into. Well, let's find the answers to your experiences together. So come on up to Uncle Jimbo's cabin on the weekend. For more information, look us up at spacedoutradio.com.
Would you like to connect with us on Spaced Out Radio? Head to spacedoutradio.com to check out the latest shows, guests, and sponsors. And don't forget to sign up for the Space Travelers Club. You'll find all you need at spacedoutradio.com.
All right, hour number 2 of Space Out Radio tonight. How are you all doing out there? If you're in the Space Out Radio chat room, Paranormal Into the Night, Paranormal Forum, we really appreciate you taking part in regards to our show, Spaced Out Radio. Absolutely love having you with us. It is so good to have you guys back. The chat rooms are packed. Always great to see you. Hey, tomorrow night on the show, we're going to be talking with Davina Caballo, Reawakening Yourself. That's going to be followed up by the rest of the week going right into the crypto world. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, don't forget on Monday the 18th, 1 week from tonight, we are extending Spaced Out Radio to 3 hours. Yvonne Palermo, the Groovy Bean, will be hosting the first hour. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be adding a whole new dimension to what we do here on Spaced Out Radio. It's going to be all for you guys, our listeners, to create more listeners and more time for you. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know I keep saying it's going to be fun, but I'm having fun, and that's the main thing. Hey, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at Spaced Out Radio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. You can also follow me on Instagram, Dave Scott, SOR. Our YouTube channel, where our archives are free, is Spaced Out Radio Show. Subscribe to that if you wish. And our website is spacedoutradio.com. We now bring in Dawn Short once again. She is a shaman, a healer, paranormal investigator. She wears many hats. And Dawn, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm absolutely ecstatic to have you, to be honest.
That's sweet, thank you.
It's been a while. We've been trying literally for about 6 months to get on the air, and it clicked, and I'm happy about that. Like I said, still a little upset that I just found out today you live in Las Vegas, because we could have went for lunch, but, you know, that's okay. Right before the break, we were talking about you working with Project Psi, which is helping resolve missing persons cases. When you get a case for this, are you dealing with the whole aspect, Dawn, of a family who is distraught about a loved one, maybe a child that has gone missing, and you're trying to help them? Do they come to you? Or are you just going through old cold cases that the police have pretty much packed away in the vault and said, maybe something will come up in the future?
There's been a combination. I don't know. All I get, like I said, is a picture. That's all I get. Now, if I get a text saying it's urgent, that obviously tells you that it's current and we need to get on top of it if you're available, which I stop everything and I get to it. So that tells me, obviously, it's something that's right now, it's not a cold case, and it's an emergency. There's been several of those. Some of them it could be older ones. Like I said, all I get is either a message being urgent through a text, or I get an email. We get weekly emails. And it's a picture, and fill out some stuff, and that's it. I send it. And I do get feedback for the most part. And it's all been very, very, very encouraging and positive, which it helps me continue, because if it wasn't, then I'm of no use, and they could find somebody else to do it, obviously, that would help, which is what you want. The help is crucial. So like I said, I don't know what type of case it is. I just get the picture and fill in the blanks, basically.
So how does that work for you? Because a lot of people have always wondered, including myself, how that works. You get the photo, do you get a name or a birth date or the day they went missing or were reported missing? How does that work?
I get a picture. Sometimes there's a name. Sometimes it's just the first name in the picture, and that's all. Nothing else.
And what are you looking for when you get that photo? What goes through your mind?
I just bring myself to a calm but open state, and I just focus on the picture. I just look at it and wait till it's basically like it starts telling me a story. Some of it might be visual. The picture might actually just start playing out. I might start seeing things. And other times I will hear just keywords or places or something. If there's an injury, if they're still alive, if they're not, or where they're located. If somebody else is involved, are they a runaway? Did they go missing by accident? Things like that. And I just provide whatever information that I get, not knowing if it's accurate or even close, and hit send. And all I can do is hope and pray that it's of some sort of help and in time.
It almost sounds like it's a real crapshoot.
Yeah, it can be very frustrating, but it's different than doing readings for clients that you never hear from again. With this, I actually do get good feedback, which I'm very thankful for, because I said initially, if you find that this is not something that I'm helpful with, I'd rather you find somebody else who is. I've actually had somebody in my life missing for a substantial amount of time, and so to be able to help in a productive way means the world to me, because having other families go through that makes me sick.
We are talking with Dawn Short tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Her website, if you want to check it out, is supernaturalwhisperswithdawn.weebly.com. How is the success rate in the information that you are getting in regards to this? Are you somewhat stunned by the accuracy, or are there times where you are just so far off that you don't even know where you got the information from?
From the feedback, I've got nothing but positive feedback so far. And there's some details about certain aspects of where someone was found that I described, and so on and so forth. And I can't give too many details out just because of what's involved. But so far, I've gotten really good feedback. So as long as I can continue, I mean, there's going to be hiccups along the way, just like anything else. Again, this is not a perfect science. There's going to be wrong ones. There's going to be some where I just completely get nothing. And that happens. But as long as I get, I'm going to give myself, if I get 3 out of 5, give or take here and there on a regular basis, I'll keep doing it. Other than that, I'm of no help, like I said, and they could probably find somebody else who could help more than I could.
That sounds like a whole lot of stress to me, because it is something that we are, not used to. We just really, really are not used to the fact that when someone's missing, we think, let's just leave it to the police. Let's just leave it to private investigators, people who are in the know. And when we get psychically involved, it puts a whole different personal level on that whole investigation.
Yeah.
How do you then get treated by the police and or investigators looking into this if you come across information or your group comes across information that is pertinent?
Well, as far as authorities go, we are all so widely spread out throughout the U.S. And so the information is given, and I guess the authorities know through the two heads of the project side that that's the case. We're all spread out, and they're given all the information, and they do it what they will. I have not as yet got any response or feedback from the authorities. None whatsoever. I don't know if that time will come. I do know, as far as the emotional aspect of it, there was one case recently that just tore me apart. I had to fill in the information and what I was given, and I told him, I don't want to type this. I do not want to type this, so I'm just going to leave it at, I hope I'm wrong. And then I called him and I said, I don't want to, and he understood what I meant. And later on that night, I happened to be looking on Facebook and this name came up, and it was the name, I guess it got through the news and everything, and they were found, and it was a little one. And I sent him a text. I said, please tell me that the bit of news that I just saw in the Facebook feed is not the one that we were working on. He said, unfortunately, it is. And you hit so many notes. My mind is blown. I couldn't sleep that night. I spent the following day in tears.
Are you normally looking at cold cases or missing people's places where the person is believed to be deceased, or are you doing stories on, say, runaways or other types of ventures where people just disappear?
I don't know. I don't know at the time. Sometimes I don't know at all. The only reason I knew that was a missing child was that the picture, of course, was a little one, and I knew it was recent because the story popped up in the feed that he had been found. And I thought, okay, that's the same name. Please, God, don't let it be. And I contacted Dr. Chuck Kennedy, and that's when he confirmed it. That's how I found that out. As far as the other ones, I don't know. I don't know if they're cold cases. I don't know if they're new. I don't know if they're missing or runaway, as confirmed according to what I'm given. All I know is the feedback that I've gotten has been really good. So,
Dawn, when it comes to these missing cases, and you were giving very little information, how vivid then are the pictures or the voices in your head coming to you when you start working on a case?
Sometimes they're a little too vivid for my comfort. Sometimes they're very vague. Sometimes I'll just get little bits and pieces, and I'll make that note, and I'll just leave it, and I'll get up and I'll walk away and I'll go in the other room, or I'll go outside and take a little bit of a break, and then I'll come back and start fresh, and that usually gets everything going again, and I'll get different information sometimes that way by just stepping away and coming back to it. So sometimes it can be just a clear picture. I'll get like a word in my head, and I'll write down that word, and then it'll lead me to something else. And other times it'll just be a word here, a word there, or a color, or a description. And so I send that off. And sometimes the word or the description, I'll see blue, torn up, but it's a tarp. Okay, it's a blue tarp. That's what it is. And so I have to put these clues together. Again, it's just like this puzzle where you're giving a couple pieces at a time, and you've got to make a whole puzzle out of a few pieces. It can be very frustrating.
Do you work alone on these, or do you actually work with the other intuitives who are involved in this as well?
We all do it individually.
And then who gathers the information to try and put the puzzle pieces together?
Chuck Kennedy receives all the emails back with the information that we each provide. He compiles all the information, and he passes that on to the authorities.
Do the police appreciate this? Or do private investigators appreciate this? Because there is always some sort of skepticism or lack of trust in what mediums do when they get that information.
I'm sure there's both. There would have to be. There's the skeptics. There's the ones that appreciate it because, hey, we've guided them to the right place and these people were found. It just depends on the individual. I'm sure that there's some authorities that absolutely appreciate it and wish they could work with more. And then there's the other ones that want to have nothing to do with it. That's the world we live in. So.
Mm-hmm. How do you sleep at night with it?
This last little one, not well. Not well at all. It's just a baby. Just learned how to walk. And they'd really messed with my head. I've got a daughter, she's grown. I've got 2 stepsons. I've got, a son that's in his, he'll be 30 in a couple of years. I've got 2 granddaughters. I'm only human. It really messed with me. In fact, it messed with me so much that they asked me if I wanted to not be included in juvenile cases. I said, absolutely do not pull me out of this. I have to help. If you're telling me that the information I gave you described too much of that area and where she was found, that tells me I need to continue. I'll deal with it. I'll be okay in a couple days, and I'll have to move on. But no, don't take me out of it.
Did you have to cleanse yourself in order to kind of push it out of you because it was so vivid?
In a way, yeah. Yeah, I had to come to terms with it. I had to, of course, pray about it and just deal with it in my own way. I fell apart. My husband was there for me, my sister. Of course, Chuck was there for me if I needed phone call or text or whatever. But I had to deal with it in a way, I had to talk myself through it. I really did, because there's a little one. I got the picture. She's no longer with us. I never knew her. I never knew her family. But I saw where she was. I went through the process. Okay, what happened to her? I'm looking at a picture and the story's playing out and I'm getting information. So I knew stuff, but I had no physical connection with her as far as this world goes. And so I had to make sense of that in my heart and try and let it go. And it's not easy. It's really not easy.
Dawn, how do you need, or how can I word this? What kind of support system do you have personally then to help you through when you're working cases like this?
I've got Willie. If I needed to call him anytime, I could call him. I've got my husband, who he's my best friend in the whole world. I've got my sister if I needed to. I've got, the heads of Project CHIVE that will answer a phone call in a heartbeat. I've got I couldn't give them much information, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams that I work with in one form or another, and I could speak with any one of them. I'm very fortunate in having some people in a small circle that would take a phone call from me or a text or something, the drop of a hat, and be there for me. Very fortunate.
How important is it for people, Dawn, to have that support group? Because a lot of psychic people, from what I have noticed, they're vagabonds. They work on their own.
I've done stuff on my own, but it's very important for a couple of reasons. You need to be reminded, or to remind each other to protect before, during, and after. You have to protect other people. You have to have people to bounce questions off of. You have to be able to have somebody to call and go, look, this is what's going on. Do you think I'm losing it? Or could you look at this picture? We do these things for each other constantly. Hey, I might not hear from somebody for, good 6 months or so. Next thing, an email pops up. I need your help. Could you look at this picture and tell me what you see? And then I might in turn, hey, you know what? I've got somebody that's out your way and I can't help them because I can't get there and they need somebody. Could you refer them? Absolutely, send me the information. I'll help them out. We do for each other. It's like an extended family. Everybody that has anything like this paranormal and spiritual needs to create their own core family like this, their go-to people. There's going to be different people for different things, but you do need to have that. It's like if you had a company and you put certain people together for certain things. There's people that are better at one thing that are another, and you do things for each other. One does the special thing, but then another person is a different office or a different supervisor or whatever handles the mail, but you all work together in one way or another. That's what we all do.
One of the things that intrigues me about what you are doing with this is that you don't know any information. You're not given any type of info besides a photo. So when you get the skeptics or the critics out there saying that, oh, you probably read about this in the news, or you probably Googled missing person in Idaho or wherever it is, and you compared the picture with Google Images or something along those lines, how do you get past the detractors who say that you're not really doing what you are doing?
Well, first of all, I don't have anybody to prove a damn thing to, because the people that asked me to do this know who I am and what I'm about and my morals and my ethics. So there's that. Anybody else, I don't owe them a damn thing. However, everybody has their right to their thoughts and their feelings. This stuff is all a mystery. I can't answer how I do this. I can't tell anybody why this happens or how it began specifically. All I know is that I get these pictures. This is what happens. And if I had enough information to throw into a computer to look up, how does that help? All I would be doing would be mimicking what somebody put somewhere out in the computer world and then basically vomiting it back onto this email and sending it out. That's no new information. That's old information. How is that helping? That's not helping. What I do is I get the picture, I get the email, I pull it up, and I focus. I focus just on the picture. And then I make some notes, and I fill it in, and then I send it. That's my own stuff. That's what I'm given. If it's completely off, it's completely off. I'm good with that. This is, again, I said it before, it's not a perfect science. That's just how it is. There's always going to be people that don't believe or that don't understand. We have a difficult time as human beings with things that we don't understand. That's a struggle. Well, believe me, I know what it's like to have something so bizarre that you don't understand, and I live with it every single day. But I've learned to use this for something to help other people. Can't explain it, but it helps. That's what matters, and I do it with faith. And if you have faith, and you know what faith is, and you believe, and you've seen, and you have that in your heart and your soul, that is what matters.
Do you want to know the results, Don? Or do you just want to do your job and say goodnight to the case?
No, I do know. I absolutely do want to know. And if it's, I sometimes I'm told this is an ongoing case. So they tell me what I've given them does absolutely pertain to what they've seen recently. So that's helpful. That means that I've been on the right track. Doesn't mean I've helped solve the case, but it means that I've gotten what has actually occurred. Whether it's already occurred or it's something that occurred once, a week down the line that I've given them the information that I was given. I would like to know. There's times when they don't have the ability because they turn it over to the authorities, and what's given to the media isn't everything. So for the heads of PSI to gather all that information to give back to us isn't always possible. It's an ongoing investigation. They can't release everything. So,
well, Don, we're going to go to break here in a minute, but Bill in Paranormal Into the Night has a really good question that I want to get in here first.
Oh, sure.
He's asking, Don, have you ever been recognized as the reason a case was closed or confirmed?
Not specifically, no. I have been given, I've been given validation, strong validations that I've confirmed where people have been, where their bodies have been found, what was around it that I described, who was potentially involved, down to the color shirt that the person had on, or what the fabric that they were wearing when they passed, things like that. So, but not the official one that helped close the case. No, not yet anyway.
We are speaking with Dawn Short tonight. She is a psychic. She is a paranormal investigator. She is a healer. She is a shaman. She also helps missing persons cases. I think it's fantastic. Dawn, we're going to step out for our final break of the night. When we come back, we're going to get into some paranormal talk, because I love the paranormal, and especially in Nevada. You're listening to Space Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. Talk to you on the other side.
Looking for a place to get your product to the public? Advertise with us at Spaced Out Radio. At spacedoutradio.com, you can check out our pricing and packages that best suit your budgetary needs. Whether you're a budgeted author or a company looking to expand, our listeners support the products that support spacedoutradio.com. Advertising with us is an effective way to get your message out. Contact us at info@spacedoutradio.com and get your ads out today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit. And expect a miracle.
Right here, this is where we divulge the fruit of our research. Here on the Webster Phenomena every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. On Spaced Out Radio. And we give it up to you guys, all the listeners, and the live listeners usually get something special and hang out in the chat room, and we love to have you. So we'll see you every Saturday night at 8 p.m. You know where.
Attention Spaced Out Radio listeners. For only $5 a month, you can join Spaced Out Radio Space Travelers. Your membership at spacedoutradio.com will give you access to private fan area on the website, get you a monthly newsletter, draws for monthly swag, and a whole lot more. Sign up today to become a part of the Spaced Out Radio experience.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Strange creatures lurking in the night, the sounds of wood knocking in the forest, odd happenings right out of a fictional world. These are the reports I love. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy, and I would love it if you join me and Spaced Out Radio host Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month on our journey into the unknown land of cryptozoology at spacedoutradio.com. From Mothman to Frogman and everything in between. Hey, they don't call me the crypto guru for nothing.
The last Monday of the month on Spaced Out Radio is a night of psychic vision, mediumship, UFO and ET contact, Bigfoot stories, animal communication, and so much more with me, Elizabeth Anglin. I'd love it if you would join host Dave Scott and I on the myriad of topics we delve into. Every month, we share new views that may help you understand your own experiences. So tune on in at spacedoutradio.com and stamp your cosmic passport.
Did you know that Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi, it's James Tyson from Spaced Out Weekend. Every Saturday and Sunday night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, you can join me and my guests for some great chatter about what's going on out in the universe, or even in that dark part of the basement you really don't want to go back into. Well, let's find the answers to your experiences together. So come on up to Uncle Jimbo's cabin on the weekend. For more information, look us up at spacedoutradio.com.
Missed most of tonight's show? Don't worry, you didn't miss a thing. You can head to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and download our archives for free. And don't forget to get your Space Travelers membership today. Now, back to tonight's show.
What's going on, Spaced Out Radio Land? Always a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much for being with us as we've rounded third. We are heading for home tonight on the mighty SOR. Always good to have you around if you're in the Space Out Radio chat room, Paranormal Into the Night, or Paranormal Forum. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tomorrow night on the show, we're going to reawaken ourselves. Our guest will be author Davina Caballo. That's tomorrow night. The rest of the week will be very, very cryptid. Going to be a lot of fun. A week from today, we extend Spaced Out Radio to 3 hours. Yvonne Palermo will be joining me for the first hour. Yes, the Groovy Bean is coming into the house. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. As we go at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time, as we extend Spaced Out Radio. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at Spaced Out Radio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. You can also follow me on Instagram, Dave Scott, SOR. As well, YouTube. That's where our archives are hiding. You can listen to them for free. Spaced Out Radio Show. Subscribe to our channel if you wish. And our website is spacedoutradio.com. Dawn Short is my guest tonight. We have been talking about shamanism, healing, her involvement in cold cases and missing persons. And we're going to put on our paranormal hat now as Dawn comes back in. Her website is supernaturalwhisperswithdawn.weebly.com if you want to check it out. Dawn, thank you so much for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Being a psychic, there's always questions in regards to the involvement of people who are intuitive within the paranormal community. It seems to be one of the biggest fights that we see, or biggest arguments, I should say, that we see in regards to the field. How do you look at that?
Well, I mean, there's some legitimate reasons for that. And I can understand it. I've seen the reasons for some of these arguments, and there's some legitimate concerns and questions, and I think it's just a matter of how you go about bringing one onto your team, how you use them, what questions you need to ask them, and how you need to present the situation and make sure that they fit in. And if they don't fit in, then you need to move on to the next until you find one that's a good fit.
Mm-hmm. What do you like to investigate? Do you like going into the places that every paranormal team has gone into, or do you like finding the hidden gems, as I like to call them, where there has been paranormal activity and not many people have gone there to find it or to investigate?
I like the newer stuff. I've never been to some of these older places, and I would love to with certain members of different teams if I ever have the opportunity. But with what I've done through either the photo scrying with San Diego or Kentucky or whatever the case is, or locally actually going to these places, whether they're homes or whatever the case is, those are the ones that I enjoy more, if you can use the word enjoy with some of the circumstances. But yeah, I'd have to agree with what you like too.
When it comes to Nevada, everybody thinks of Nevada as this very militarized zone where, for a big portion of the state, 99% of the world will never be able to see what's truly there. We think of aliens, the extraterrestrial highway, Area 51.
Yep.
How paranormal, though, is the state of Nevada?
Well, I believe that there's sections out there that they're closed off, and they're closed off for a reason. You just don't close off a whole place just for nothing. I mean, come on. I've seen some weird stuff. Plenty of other people have seen some weird stuff. There's a reason why you're not allowed anywhere near the outskirts of the area. So, I mean, you put two and two together, something's there. And then you put together some of the stories that match up with other stories with people have seen. There's something to it. As far as that's concerned, there's that, but there's the land. There's Native American heritage, or Lake Mead. There's all kinds of stuff around here. I mean, you've got the mafia history that's out here that's unbelievable. There's bodies all over this state. It's just, I would say there's just as much, with the exception of Area 51, than probably any other place there is.
Would you love to investigate some of the older casinos, especially on the old strip?
The old strip. That would be the best, how it used to be. One of the things that I happened to see was completely by accident years ago. The old circus, before they redid the whole thing in the rooms and all that. I actually found a bullet hole in the wall that they had covered up with a picture. And they actually moved us once they discovered that that's what it was. They transferred our room. But yeah, I would absolutely love to.
How haunted do you think the old strip is with the Golden Nugget, Binions, the old man Binion? He was involved with the mafia. There was like you said, there was all sorts of murders down there back in the heyday of the old strip. Do you think those ghosts are still roaming? Because there are literally tens of thousands of people down there on a daily basis, and it would make it very hard, I would assume, to try and pick up any energy there.
Definitely, but I will say this. I got to go, I was actually a headliner at one of the conventions at Binion's, and there's some unusual energy in that place. There really is, at least the areas that I got to go to. It wasn't an investigation that I went to. It was the great big convention room that was upstairs. And some of the energy is just wild.
So how hard is it to try and get into the casinos, or is that one of those hidden things that the casinos don't want around?
You mean specifically for an investigation?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I've never purposely gone to do that. I would imagine it's not too welcomed.
So outside of the casino side of Las Vegas that a lot of people see on a daily basis and are touring there for, Never mind the flash floods that happen, like what we got caught in.
Yeah.
Where are the most haunted places you have found in Southern Nevada?
I would have to say residents and some businesses. There's one particular business that some people have told me about that the people that work there late at night, they just quiet. There was just a handful of people there, graveyard shift, and the what do you call it? The adding machine. It just started going nuts. And nobody was in that particular cubicle. It just started going off. And then they unplugged that, and then some double doors slammed shut. So just a bunch of random stuff, one thing after another. And I guess it happens every once in a while there. So, but nobody... The thing is, people don't want anybody to come in there and investigate for fear of stirring stuff up and making it worse, which... that could happen should the wrong people go in there. So.
No, I understand that, and I can appreciate that. As a paranormal investigator, though, when you are investigating these sites, what are you looking for specifically? Are you one of these investigators that is trying to prove that ghosts exist? Are you trying for the hardcore evidence? What brings you into the investigation?
For me personally, I want to make sure that it's not something else, not something electrical, not something, anything else that it could possibly be first. Once I know that that's all been handled, whoever it's by, whether it's by the founder and another team member or whatever that is, then they bring me in. But I want to make sure that that's done first before. Don't bother me. Don't bring me in if you haven't done, your A through Z kind of deal, because it's a waste of my time. And then they bring me in, and I specifically tell them, tell me nothing. The second you start telling me stuff, I can't go with you. It's tainted. And I've given examples. It's just a really basic thing. I just say the word zebra, and then I give you, don't think about a zebra now. You can't. So when you give a medium a little bit of information before you take them with you to an investigation, wherever it is, now they've got to deal with, okay, was that something in my head? Was that because you told me? It's all destroyed now. It's pointless. So then they bring me in there, and they just say, okay, you go where you need to go, and you tell me what you need to tell me so that I can make some notes. So I go in and hopefully go to where the main source is, or I start giving information, and we go from there. And I just want to help put the piece of puzzles together, and you find resolution and hopefully some sort of peace or explanation for the people that have to be there, whether they live there, whatever it is, business, home, whatever.
Do you find that it's a lot more men that you are getting contacted by or are doing the hauntings because Nevada has such a high murder ratio back in the days with the mafia and the gangs running the casinos back in the day? Or do you find that you're still getting the same amount of men, women, children as well?
For me, it's been a good combination. It's absolutely been a good combination, for sure.
What about near the Grand Canyon, right on the border there, where the Hoover Dam is? Have you ever had a chance to take a look around there?
I've been over there briefly, just driving through. We got out just a little bit, and this was back when the kids were little. And that was really my only experience with that, so brief, so I actually don't have an answer for that as far as anything paranormal goes.
Would you like to check that out?
Oh, sure.
I think that would be a cool one because so many people died while building that dam.
Yeah.
And never mind that Megatron is hidden in the dam. I mean, I'm a Transformers guy. I got to say that, But, do you take it for granted then because a place like the Hoover Dam is so close to you that you just think, well, I'll get to it next time. Is that the way it kind of works?
No, not to me. For me, I have other stuff. I've got the weekly missing persons things. I've got all these other things. I'm just going to be doing a new show of my own. And I brought on a co-host in April. So I've got all these other things in my life that are not even associated with paranormal, with the exception of the missing person cases. And then if San Diego Paranormal Research Society needs me to consult for them, or Soul Warriors out in Kentucky, Dominion Ministry, it's all random. I've got something coming up that I'll actually physically have to go to with Southern Nevada Ghost Hunters pretty soon. But yeah, I've got so many other things going on in my life. I don't purposely go, you know what, that's on my goal list to go to this place, this place, this place. Mm-hmm. It's just not, I'm just not one of those quote-unquote ghost hunters.
Mm-hmm. I would love to do an investigation in the middle of the desert, because we really don't know how many bodies are buried out there, like you said earlier on, in regards to it. I think it would be kind of cool to be like out in the mountains, in the middle of the desert, and just see what's out there. Because you know, from the Wild West days, or from the start of the casino days when the mafia was running everything, you know that there has to be bodies all over those grounds, buried somewhere.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Have you ever had a chance to do that?
To purposely go out in the middle of nowhere? No, I have not. That does interest me. It just doesn't interest me when it's 120 outside.
No, I could fully understand that. Or when the torrential downpours come, like it happened this weekend out there.
That was
you know, that was kind of crazy.
Yeah, it was. But I completely agree with you. I always thought that would be something that would be really interesting to go out there and to do.
What is something on your list, paranormal-wise, that you would like to do? Because you wear so many hats, Dawn, that I don't know how you keep your head on straight, to be honest.
It sounds like a lot, but a lot of the teams that I have, like, 1, 2, 3, 4 teams and 2 groups that I'm with, but they don't always have stuff going on. Sometimes it's all at once. Sometimes it's just random. There's a couple places out in Kentucky that I would love to go to, just because I've got so many friends that live out there. And I can't think of the name of them right now. And there's a post town in Ohio. Actually, I would like to go back to, and I've got no way of knowing, because it's been so many years, the room in Circus where I found the bullet hole. And I'd love to go back to Binions if I have the opportunity. There's a house that I used to live in as a teenager out in California that I would love to go back to, because some weird stuff happened. That particular house, it was a downstairs room. It was really, really long. And my mother and sister were home at the time with me, thank God. I saw a male figure come just really fast, straight through the room, but he came towards me and knocked me up and backwards. And luckily there's a sofa behind me, so I hit that, but they were there and they saw it. And there's no way a human body can go up and back like that on its own. And I would love to go back there if I was given the chance.
Mm-hmm. That would intrigue me, because I've lived in a haunted house, and for people who've never lived in a haunted house, the stuff that happens can be pretty amazing in regards to it. My house was haunted by 4 different spirits, and according to a psychic friend of mine who had kind of gone over the house, the main one was a little girl. And she was only about, I'm going to say maybe 3 years old.
Wow.
And long story short, I saw her, my ex-wife saw her, and she would play in my daughter's room and play with my daughter's toys. And it would be funny because let's say we were having a quiet night at home and the kids were, say, at Grandma and Grandpa's house for the night.
Right.
All of a sudden we'd hear her squeaky her bedroom door open, the pitter-patter of little feet running down the hall. And we were just starting out. We had a squeaky bed. You know, we couldn't afford a good bed.
Yeah.
And our bed was squeaky. And all of a sudden, after the pitter-patter of little feet, we'd hear our bed start to squeak. And it was, you know how kids use beds as a trampoline.
Yeah.
It was the most intriguing thing. We had all of our drinking glasses disappear. All of our teaspoons disappear. It was something almost, I wouldn't say it was a daily basis, but I would say at least once a week to once every 2 weeks, there was something weird happening. At no time did you ever feel scared.
Right.
But it was just weird when, you know, you don't know what to do. So what would be your advice in regards to that for people who, say, live in a haunted house, don't feel frightened or scared, and just want to know what's going on?
I would absolutely be careful, just because you could open other little doors that you don't want to. But I would definitely research the history of the land, research the history of the address as far as any crimes were committed, deaths, things like that. That's stuff that you can do on your own. If you don't come across or don't feel like you've answered those questions, you could get help through City Hall. And the libraries, there's all kinds of places that you can reach out to find information on the surrounding areas. And then, if you wanted to, you could certainly reach out to a team and see if they could come in and help you find out, maybe help you with some of the paperwork and stuff like that. But make sure you get somebody that's not out to just to find evidence. There's the evidence-hungry people that can stir stuff up. Or they want to find something, they got something, and then they leave, and then you never hear from them again.
Mm-hmm.
And just if you're going to reach out to a team, make sure you meet with them somewhere else. Talk to them. If you don't feel comfortable, talk to them again. Get comfortable with them. Get references. They should have references. They should have multiple references.
When it comes to the paranormal right now, we see a real influx in the popularity where everything seems to be a demon.
Oh, God.
How much does that weigh on you as an investigator? Because everybody seems to be turning into a demonologist. Everybody seems to be dealing with demons these days. I'm curious on your reaction to that.
It's absurd. Why I don't understand the need for people to want something to be something so horrendously awful. Anger can come across as evil when it's not evil at all. It's just a lot of angry energy. I can't think of the word for it, but it's residual energy. Residual energy can come across as super negative to the right person, or to the wrong person, I should say, because it's residual energy. One house that I was in, this lady had residual energy towards her. It was in her bedroom, but towards the back patio door. And it was just a cycle over and over again. And it just drove her nuts because it was of where it was, and she paid attention to it a lot. And so she assumed that that's what it was. And it wasn't. Not at all. But how she approached it and how it made her feel, because she didn't know the details of it, she assumed automatically it's demonic. We're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough, I'd hate to say knowledge, but there's not enough complete information to provide to people, and they jump to conclusions. Scare tactics from a lot of these places that teams that want to, well, we need to come in here, or people that charge a horrendous amount of money, people that tell you you've got attachments from, like, it's a long time ago, your family's cursed, all this other crazy stuff that happens, and people get scared and they want it fixed, so they'll hand over their money. Stop it. It makes me sick. People will convince you that, well, there's a reason that you have a family member who got cancer and now you've got somebody else who was in a car accident. No, life happens. Bad things happen to everybody. Your family's not cursed. Don't give people money to fix this. There's nothing to fix. If there's something to fix, then the proper clergy needs to come in. They will not charge you. You're more than welcome to donate to the church or to help them with gas. They will never charge you. And if you do, if they say they do, that's a red flag. You need to report them.
And on that note, we have run out of time for tonight.
Wow.
That went fast.
It did.
Weird. It always seems to happen that way. I'm not too sure why, Dawn, but I do know this. It bothers my guests, and it bothers me, but most of all, it bothers our listeners. I want to say thank you, Dawn, for being on Spaced Out Radio tonight.
Oh, gosh, thank you.
It was an absolute pleasure. I'm going to get you to hold on for a couple of minutes here while I say goodnight to everybody else, and then I will say goodnight to you on the other side.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Dawn Short, everybody. Her website is supernaturalwhisperswithdawn.weebly.com. Man, we got into a lot tonight. Shamanism, healing, her working on missing persons cases throughout the United States, finishing it off with a little paranormal action. That is fantastic. She is a very, very talented and busy person. She's a mother, grandmother, wife. I don't know how she wears so many hats. Hey, I want to thank you for sticking with us tonight. Yeah, we had a little bit of technical issues. We've got those cleaned up, or at least Uncle Jimbo does. I hopped in here as the middle relief. Got to talk baseball now because it's baseball season. Go Yankees. And I'm going to be back tomorrow night. I'm going to be back every night, Monday through Friday, right until maybe August, when I may take some vacation time again. We'll see how it goes. I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you're in Paranormal Into the Night, Paranormal Forum, or the Space Out Radio chat room, much love to you all. You know how much respect I have for each and every one of you. If you're a new listener, thank you so much for tuning in. We are also being syndicated as of tonight on Shure Media. That's SHR Media. You can Google them. We're part of their lineup. Our first station that is syndicating us. Absolutely love it. We are growing. It is being good. Hey, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can do so at Spaced Out Radio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. You can follow me on Instagram, Dave Scott, SOR. Our archives are at Spaced Out Radio Show on YouTube. Please take the time to subscribe to our channel. And our website is spacedoutradio.com. Tomorrow night on the show, Davina Kabbalah will join us. We're going to reawaken yourself. Remember, a week from today, we are going to 3 hours. And we're going to wrap it up with a little Bumblefoot. See you in 22 hours, my Spaced Out Radio friends, my space travelers. Always good to chat with you. Good night.